Good morning. Good afternoon. Depends on where you are. Hi, it's a surprise Saturday stream. I never stream on the weekends, largely because we got stuff to do. But this morning, I thought I'd do a quick one for, an hour and just touch base with people. Got a couple of things going on I thought I'd let you know about. One, if you haven't seen one yet, I have started doing shorts of the comment pages I've been doing on the one-page streams that I do each day, Monday to Friday, 2:00 in the afternoon. So people come on, they suggest an idea for a one-page comic, and I do it. I start it right then and there. And well, not the one that somebody just comes and blurts it out and I start going, because we've got a number that have been suggested already. So it's a matter of catching up with a lot of them. But we just crossed the 100 one-page comic suggestions completed since the start of the year. So now I'm on number 102. It's actually 113 pages, though, because some of them end up being 2 pages. A couple of them are 3, 5, 6. I don't remember. But extra different lengths, right? Just because the page is fun or it's warranting a little bit more. So it ends up being 111, all things said and done. So, or 113, sorry, now, all things said and done. So that's fine. It's been a lot of fun. And we continue to do that Monday to Friday at 2:00 EST North American time. So if you are overseas, if you're in Europe, if it's, okay, so let's say it's 11 o'clock here now, depending on where you are. In Britain, it should be 5 p.m., I think. And so when I come on at 2:00 in the afternoon, it's actually 8 o'clock for you. That's how I think the time difference is. My wife has family in the Netherlands, and so whenever they call, they're 6 hours apart. Europe is 6 hours. So the people that are overseas that haven't been able to check out the afternoon streams because they're on at night, I apologize. So that's why I thought I'd come and say hi this morning. A couple other pieces of announcements. So the shorts that we're starting to do is readings of the comic pages as they've been done. We've already put one up of Bella Rocks, of a suggestion. It was Bella Lugosi as a rock star. So that was that's a fun one. So that one is up on the YouTube channel now, and the next one that's coming up is on the left hand. That'll be coming out this weekend, and we're just going to keep doing shorts. So each day as I finish a page and I show the page on social media, and at the start of the daily stream, we're also going to be putting a short out with me reading and doing the voices, because my wife thinks that'll help people understand the voices. So, or how I hear it in my head, right? It's important, the difference of the two. So this is why I always put this up. If you have a one-page comic idea that you can put in 1 or 2 sentences, put it here in the chat or in the comment section below the video. Other information, other announcements. So I put up a couple links on the screen, one for the website. You can't click on them, I realize that, but you can write them down. If you're interested, there's the daily live stream, HTTPS, and then there's the website, HTTPS. Why is the website on there, Chris? Man, am I glad you asked me that. We're with the questions today. The website's on there is because last night, in an absolute stroke of wonder and amazement, 2 things happened. One, with the helpful, support and assistance from my wife, we managed to take a proper rounded look at the website. And 2, magically, I was able, for the first time in 2 years, to talk to a human being from my website provider company. A button never even appeared on the screen for me to even talk to a human being, but it happened. The first human being, we had a communication problem, but that human being transferred me to another human being named Amelia, who was awesome. So as far as I know, people in the States and people internationally and people in Mexico can all put through orders now on my website. This has been the most absurd thing in the world that I've had this website for as long as I have, and people couldn't make orders. Absolutely ridiculous. It's a problem with how it was set up. And so for the life of me, going through all of these different screens in this, confusing way that websites are made, it would have been easier and I would have understood it better if I just built it myself. I always say that about everything because I'm a fuss bucket. But yeah, so we can now get orders through from hither and yon. So that's very exciting stuff. So I'm kind of excited about that. And at the same time, there's a little bit of trepidation because, it's new territory having a website that actually functions. So we tested it out. My wife pretended she was in Buffalo and tried to order some stuff, and it was going through. And then, so whoever's in Buffalo, surprised you get some comics. So then, and we ordered locally, and it worked. We have not tried to order from Bangladesh because we don't know any addresses in Bangladesh. So, okay. So yeah, very exciting stuff. So the one-page comic extravaganza story times is what we're calling the shorts, and you'll see those popping up. And if you're in the YouTube community on my channel here, I will be posting them there as well. Hi, Philip. Philip's joined us. Philip Chandler, everybody. If you get a chance, check out Philip's channel. He's got some fun stuff going on there. All right, and yeah, Philip, I'm just doing announcements today. Check Saturday morning cartoons with Paul Pate. There's another person to check out. So this is our surprise Saturday stream, and I'm not going to be on, for hours and hours today, but I thought I'd check in and stop in and show you what we're working on now. If you're interested in the streams, for those of you that might come here for the first time because it's a Saturday, I do a one-page comic every day, by suggestions from other people. And yesterday's suggestion was from Caitlin in St. Thomas, and it was a hot sauce cat fight. Cats doing karate all up on the hot sauce. Suicide sauce. And I had to look up what suicide sauce is. How you doing, Adam? Welcome aboard. We've got 113 pages now of one-page comics since the start of the year. So at this point, I've had to start a new folder. So this is the page that I'm working on right now, which I'll show you. And I do whatever format, whatever medium I feel like on whatever given day, right? So today's page is very different than yesterday's page because today's page I'm drawing in reverse. So last week I did a page on Wednesday with my left hand instead of my right hand. So I'll try anything at this point. But today's page is it's on a heavy gray cardstock, and it's kind of fun. Yeah, that's right. I drew a toilet. Today's suggestion is from Dee Dee Willingham. She pulls 3 words out of a bag. In this case, 6 words were pulled out of a bag for this one. I've done about 5 of the 3-word prompts, things like airplane, kangaroo, pyramid, and stuff like that. So today's is toilets, toasters, telephones, tongues, teeth, and toenails. So, that's one of the fun things. Philip says he might actually stream later today if he can get himself together and cleaned up. Clean it up, Philip. That'd be cool. Let me know, Philip. I'll try to check in. Going to hang out with one of the kids today. With the daughter. but the weekend streaming apparently is unreliable. Philip, if you're still here, thanks for hanging around. Anybody else, if you're still here, thanks for hanging. Oh, there's Philip there. Yeah, so yeah, I don't know. Saturday stream, maybe, who knows? The magic of the interwebs. But thanks for anybody that's hung around for that momentary glitch. Well, I don't know what I'm talking about, which is not a surprise. Oh yeah, music of the day. Today's music, I'm listening to 70s Japanese jazz and funk with bands like Minori Muruaka. There's no point in me trying to pronounce any names because I'm just gonna be terrible. And hey, Philip's still here, hey buddy. Yeah, I'm not good at pronouncing a period. I can't pronounce people's names like Bob Smith. So yeah, what are you gonna do, right? Okay, so anyways, I'm just gonna keep plugging away. So the whole point of this page is phobia. Yesterday we had a talk on my live stream at 2:00 about, which this doesn't happen. The glitch thing doesn't happen on my live stream at 2:00. I don't know what it is. Saturday internet. Who knows? Yesterday we were talking about phobia. What do you have a phobia of? And as I'm working on this page, and so this page, the whole approach I'm taking to it is our principal character here is explaining something that he has, the things that he has a fear of. And so I'm going to have these different suggested words. I'm going to be drawing those different elements as panels on, and then I'll put them in the computer. I'll scan it, right? Put it in the computer, and then I'll clean up the borders on them and straighten out the angles on things, because you can see some of the panels tilt when I'm drawing, just doodling freehand like this. And I'm going to have a black panel to start with. And the whole idea is it's a conversation. So he's talking to somebody about his phobias, and the other person, which is honestly you, it's the reader, right? So he's going to describe things like, the porcelain seat, the porcelain chair that you have in that small room, like the closet. And somebody says, oh, you mean it? No, don't say it, right? And so the whole idea is that he's going to describe these things that start with a T, which is my little absurd fun that I like to have in every page I do. And then the closure of it, of course, after we get through the different examples: toilets, toasters, telephones, tongues, teeth, toenails, right? As I draw those different elements as panels, the last one will be, there'll be a black panel like there is at the beginning that says phobia on it. And I'll say, oh, those will start with the letter T. And in the last panel, of course, it'd be this guy again going, ah, It's absurd and it's silly, but sometimes that's the fun of doing a one-page comic. The one-page comics that we've been doing, let me crack open something here. Let me crack open a window. So I'll show you just for anybody that might be here on a Saturday that isn't normally with us. So this is the amount of one-page comics we've done since the start of the year. And some of the fun things that we have when we do these things is not only just different formats, but, different narrative styles as well. Try to talk through, like a first person, third person, whatever it is, or some of those posit just ideas. Others, like, okay, so here's a page I did called Cause and Effect. And this is my version of a superhero comic. And this is my version of Batman, to be honest. So there's all your Batman characters. And it's basically talking about the ridiculousness of superhero comics. Yeah, if you like superhero comics, I like them too. No word of a lie. There's my favorite comic from childhood is a Legion of Superheroes, where everybody's called Cosmic Boy and Lightning Lad. Like, it's a really dorky book. But at the same time, I, for the life of me, do not understand Batman. He's because honestly, the character is a fetishistic fascist, but he imposes his will on others, and he has a kink to dress up as a bat. So, and theme his whole world around bats, and get lots of young boys to hang around with him. So it's kind of an awkward thing. But this is my version of a Batman story, which is why I'll never be asked to write or draw Batman. But you know. So we've got that going. There's all kinds of, like, here's another, just showing you some of the random things we've done. Here's the Universal Monsters as the Brady Bunch. You know, so I describe the Brady Bunch, and basically I'm describing the Brady Bunch show, but I'm using the Universal Horror Monsters to example it. So, again, it's sometimes the idea of different approaches to a single page idea is to take an initial idea and to figure out how do you make it your own, turn it on its side, right? And in doing so, it liberates your thinking up so that you're not specifically trying to tell a tale of any certain type. You're just letting it go. And so once you start drawing that first panel, it should allow you to continue on and develop that narrative as you structure it throughout. This is a silly robot, a stupid Barry, it's called. And it's just a one panel image. And in this one panel image, it just basically has a one track narrated joke from other robots looking at Barry and saying this is why Barry isn't functioning. And it's ridiculous, but it's exploring an idea, a short narrative in a single page comic. And so there's a great deal of things that we can do in this format. There's all kinds of stuff and all kinds of finishes and approaches. This is a really I'm sorry, I'll get to the chat in a few minutes, guys. Thanks everybody for hanging out. This is a really basic flats sort of a form of coloring. Flats is where you just do the basic color for a region in an illustration without any details. And so this is my Jeffrey Bezos comic. And it comes from a conversation with my grandkids, my two oldest grandkids, talking about Jeffy Bezos, which cracked me right up. And the song that my grandkids were singing about Jeffy Bezos. So, this is a very different finish than, say, I don't know. Let me grab another random one. Here's, a similar format, and yet at the same time, a very of a singular, a really tight narrative, just a couple of panels, and yet the finish on it has more elements to it. It has photo manip in it. It has, this is just an ad with Bob and Doug promoting coming to the streams, right? That was a Saturday one pager. Somebody said you should do an ad to promote the streams. Oh yeah, right. So I did. So there's little things like that, right? It's whatever the idea is that comes across, I'll go for it. Let's see. I'm finding the most outlandish one, and then let's get the business. And that business is, let's make in some pictures. So Jim Lujan suggested something outlandish recently, and I did it anyways. It was, let's see if I can find it. My old man eyeballs. This is a horse riding a guitar a horse riding a bicycle while playing guitar on top of a fourth dimensional parallax. That was this page's suggestion. Okay, let's go. So my take on it was it's a couple of surfer dudes trying to talk about a movie that they came up with while they were having some recreation time with their friends. And I interrupt it and say, okay, come on. Just because you thought it was a good idea with your friends at the time does not mean it's going to make any sense to anybody else. Not to say that Jim was, that way when he was suggesting it. It's just a play on the outlandish notion, right? So, it's a lot of fun. Oh, and then Jose from New York, he suggested an equally outlandish idea recently. He tried to one-up Jim, I think. And let's see if I can find it. What was Jose's? Does anybody remember what Jose's was? Oh, this is it. It's a cat throwing up someone traveling through an interdimensional portal. Right? So this is my chance to do a Star Trek comic. Which is, if you're a Star Trek fan, yeah, you know, it's just a silly thing. But somebody said last night from the page that I posted yesterday of hot sauce cat fight. Hot sauce cat fight can be right before this one, because in both cases I've drawn my cat Corbin. So, you know, so that hot sauce cat fight can lead right into aw kitty. So that's a fun idea. But anyhow, this is some of the stuff that we does. So there's the announcements again. There's the two things that we've got all switched up. We've got the website is open to international and American and Canadian orders finally. Okay, so there should be no problems with those anymore. That took 2 hours, by the way, on the phone to with somebody in India to figure that out. But we did it. I think we did it. I hope we did it. Right? And then the daily live streams are going to continue Monday to Friday, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And the shorts will be coming up. The first short is out now of Bella Relics. So if you look on my if you look on my YouTube page, you'll see an old one that I did of One Page Comic Extravaganza Storytime, which is a page called A Comedian is Forced to Become the One Thing that He Hates the Most, a Clown. And so for that page, I used Jerry Seinfeld and had Jerry Seinfeld surgically altered into a clown. And so that page was read with a really bad Jerry Seinfeld impression behind it. So we've tried it once before, and with whatever mixed results. Okay. All right. Now, what am I missing here? Hey, it's Rachel. Hi, Rachel. Adams asked if I've listened to Sadistic Mika Band, Yellow Magic Orchestra. Rachel says hi to everybody. No, I haven't, but I'll Sadistic Mika Band, Yellow Magic Orchestra. I think I have. Thanks, Rachel. Look out. Take a moment. Yeah, so I've been putting all that stuff together. That's what I've been doing. In all my free time. Yeah, I couldn't have got that figured out without Lori helping me out, because my shock and awe was the fact that they set up a button where you could actually talk to a human. So I think enough people had nervous breakdowns or completely lost their cool about the fact that every time you tried to talk to somebody, you were sent to a robot. So I think they finally said, okay, we got to get human assistance here. Let's send it overseas. Yeah, there's fewer things that are harder to believe when somebody who's almost completely unintelligible because they have such a thick accent, right? And then you make up a name like, this is Jeff. And you're like, your name's not Jeff. Be who you are, right? What do we got? Both bands are Japanese. Sounded maybe along the lines of what you'd mentioned. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I looked into the list here, and I don't see those listed for anybody, but a lot of the names on my playlist are written in Japanese. So I couldn't tell you if any of those were the guys anyways. Okay, Rachel says, really like the dark paper with white pen pencil. Oh, thanks. It's very nice of you. So I was talking about this yesterday. The whole point, or the whole approach to doing a page like this is when normally you're working on a white surface, generally, that's what most people start with, or but you're drawing with a dark line making medium, right? Whether it's pencil, whether it's pen, whether it's marker, whether it's paint, whatever the hell it is. So you're looking at the contour. You're looking at the contour, whatever it is that you're drawing, looking for those dark shades, those dark spaces in your drawing. You draw the iris itself, or you draw, the shape of the eye socket, or around the eye, or the nostrils, as opposed to, trying to define the surface areas or the lighter areas that are built up, the different planes of the face. You're either shading those down or trying to contour those with lines, where there's no difference in drawing with white pencil. It's just looking at those raised surfaces. It's just looking at, the raised cheek, the way that the light hits here, which is a raised up surface, as opposed to here, which is a recessed surface. I'm a grizzled old mug. So yeah, so it's really, if you could wrap your head around that, and I talked about this yesterday, if you've got any sort of dark drawing surface, if you don't have any dark papers or whatever like that, if you've got any markers kicking around in magazines, if you can find just a space of value, let's say it's a back cover magazine for a vodka advertisement. It's just got this bottle in the center, but around the sides of that bottle is this dark, background, this blown out background, so it can look like the bottle is this majestic thing in the foreground. None of the bottle stuff matters. You're just looking for that little space of dark surface for you to try this out on. And otherwise, go get some paper, some colored paper, some black paper, whatever it is. So it's just, yes, that's exactly it. That's exactly it, Rachel. It's like working in negative space. So if you're able to do that, if you're able to find something that allows you to pursue that, give that a try. I mean, you can even take, let's say, a dark colored Post-it or something. 1 second. I mean, even if you've got notepad paper like this, right? Like even the notepad paper like that allows you to sit down and to try to figure out the planes of a face and how the forehead sits above, and you've got the bridge of the nose and how the light sits on the raised surfaces of the cheeks and moves down in the face, and you can see the upper part of a lip, and you're imagining the light's coming from here, right? And then you're going to find that bottom lip. Anything that protrudes is going to catch light, and anything that recedes is not going to catch as much light. Of course it catches light, but because there's such a thing as called refraction. We're not going to get into refraction today. We're not going to get into reflections of color today, but colors or light values. But in the interim, if you can try this, just give it a shot and then realize, make those little areas that are more prominent. If you've got those little surfaces that stick out just a little bit more, you're going to hit those surfaces with just a little more white. And so they're going to come up more. And so it's a case of not drawing the recessed portions of whatever it is, whether it's a face, whether it's a toilet, So in this case with the toilet, I've been raising up these surfaces and not putting value because of the gray tone of the page. I'm not putting anything down, any marks down on these areas that I want to have that intermediate value. And then sparingly, when I come in at the end, so to use this as an example, as I put these marks down, and I more lightly put the simpler marks down in this area, but I'm still leaving these little spots in here where the paper color comes through. Very sparingly do I put a few black marks, because the intention of the approach here is we're coming at it from light on dark. And then we'll do the contrast emphasis at the end. But you really want to concentrate and focus more on those raised surfaces. And then as soon as you got a good handle on that, come in with those recessed surfaces. I hope that makes sense. If anybody understands that, or if anybody has any questions, ask me. I've been working on my hips, only traveling dimly lit areas. Yeah, you don't want them shining. Yeah. That's not a typo. Double working on my hips. So the different approaches that you try, he really is a stunner. Oh, are we this guy? Yeah, he's stunned. So as we try this, as we go through this process, so I can see that there's a raised, like for the buttons on the front of a toaster, or for the knob at the front of the toaster, it's going to have a more raised surface. So I want to put more emphasis on those elements as they're protruding out, right? It's like on the face here, my schnoz protrudes out. So there's going to be more light caught on the top of my nose. So let's look in the picture here, okay? Yeah, now I got to do this and look over here and then, okay, face, sorry, buckle up. So my nose is more prominently in the light source that's coming from over there, okay? But this recessed side, I'm do this backwards, this recessed side is capturing less light because it's less exposed than this side of my face, good heavens, that's closer to this light source as it's coming in. So I'm finding more of these really light lines, these really light values that are in here, this reflection of light that's on my glasses, you know, the light that's on here on my nose, on my brow ridge over here, right? So those are the things that I'm looking for as I'm sitting down and I'm drawing this. If you're working from a source image and it's just a flat static image, okay, either it's like what do they call those, clip art, where it's just like a black outline thing, you can even use those as your source image, because what you're doing when you're looking at whatever the source image is, you're not just trying to copy it wholesale, because that's boring and it's not you, you know, but it's a really good, viable and helpful way. It's a helpful tool for you to figure out how to go about understanding the structure of that object, looking at the different planes and how light works on those planes on the surface of the image or the item or the person or the horse or the buggy or the jalopy or the rock or the whatever, and figuring out how light works on those things and trying to translate that into your image. If in either way, if you're drawing in positive or in negative approaches to the image, you're still assessing the same thing. So it's not like it's a completely different animal, right? Riri, hi Riri, by the way, I'm so sorry. Yeah. Oh yeah, you're talking about this fella. He's stunned. Yeah, and I gotta make him look more scared at the end. So the second image, so I looked at a source image, it was about this big, right? On because I don't let myself get fixated on a large image. I find something small, pick out the key elements of it, and I have it on a timer on my screen. My screen shuts off after 5 minutes tops. So whatever I don't get after that first 5 minutes, that's tough for me. I gotta, you know, I should have a comprehension of what it is that I'm drawing. Now, 5 minutes works for me. Whatever time might work for you. There's no better or worse, or there's no value judgment on how long it takes you to draw. The thing I'm trying to example with this is, if you have a source image, allow yourself to understand the key structure, the key points, you know, where the key placements are for the value of the light, or where the key parts of in this case, the anatomy or the structure of whatever it is, get those down so that, and then move the resource to the side. And so you are exploring and developing your own knowledge, your own internal sense of how this face works. And so as you're drawing, you're going to add those, you know, the planes of the cheek around the eye socket, you know, how that would work on this side, but you can exaggerate things and really have this value out. Because it's your drawing, you can do whatever you want, right? There's no hard, fast rules about this is how you have to do it. I only ever suggest the idea of using resource to a point, because when you put that resource away, it becomes more and more yours. And you get a better understanding of the thing that you're drawing. Like in this context, I drew this, I don't know, really quickly put the toilet image on here this morning while I was waiting for things to load up, and et cetera, and et cetera. And so I looked at this and I realized this toilet needs, actually, it's not wide enough. The basin still needs to come out a little bit more. It's just missing that little bit to have that physical sense of balance in the existing space. So by allowing myself to stop for a second and to have a comprehension of the object that I'm drawing, as opposed to heavily relying on a source image, you start to figure those things out a little bit more. And so, it's tricky. I must admit, I left the armadillo on the screen for 6 minutes. You can leave an armadillo on the screen for 60 minutes if you need to. Take whatever time you need to get a structure of a thing down. We all work at different speeds, right? And we all have our own different processes. If you need to sit down and look at your resource for the entirety of the time, do it. But recognize that no matter how good you are and the marks that you're making on your drawing, it's not going to look exactly like the photo without you spending a great deal of time emulating that image. In an age where AI can generically spit stuff out in whatever speed as it can, that, emulates the work of creators and replaces them to some extent for a great deal of people, because the generic sort of approach of the work, the more authenticity you have, the more that you allow yourself to express things in your own way, not copying other people, but doing things with your voice, the more that those algorithms and those machines can't replace you. Right? So allow yourself to be comfortable in the way that you draw. It will be improved over time. So to the extent that you want it to be. Philip says, toilets on old hardwood floors kind of gross me out for some reason. So I share this man's fear. Oh, Married to a Creative agrees. My gross out is carpeted bathroom floors. It's a scary nightmare, the idea of carpeted floors in a washroom. But yeah, I've seen it too, and you're completely right. That is a gross scenario. Yeah, Married to a Creative says even worse. It's amazing to me, the things that Philip concurs as well. It's amazing to me, the decisions that people make about stuff in their home. Like, I've never understood when there's a very 60s aesthetic, a 70s design aesthetic, where you would have your living room and there's your kitchen, and there's pass-through windows for, from the kitchen into the dining area of the living room, whatever it is. But then there's the old 60s, 70s aesthetic of carving this big circular shape, so that the wall there's very little purpose to the wall unless it's structural, because it's such a large circle, and you still got like 2 feet above the ground, and there's circle starts, and it's 2 feet below the ceiling. And it's kind of like, I get the open concept of it, but I've never for the life of me understood why people would do these, even worse, random shapes, right? Rather than just circles. So what else we got here? I'm trying to keep up. Oh, yeah, Phil thinks it's gross too. Hey, it's Chris. Hi, Chris. How are you today? It's a Saturday, so you're not dealing with students today, I would think. Rachel says, hey, Married, I love it when Philip admits his phobias and his list is growing. Rachel's keeping notes. Rachel sat down yesterday and wrote down everybody's phobias that they expressed, and she has plans. Yeah, it's nice to see you come on out, Chris. Yesterday's question, random question number, I think it was 781 from Jim. He tends to pop in and ask a random question on the Monday to Friday streams. There's what are your phobias was his question that day. So Philip says, there's a few, Rachel. There's a few. Chris says, no students today. It's a long weekend this time. No class on Monday. Nice. Excellent. That is excellent. Fantastic. Oh, Mary's laughing at Rachel. Anyway, so back to the approach of drawing. Try anything. Try what works for you. and experiment with all things. And there's eventually over time, I'm a real mixed media kind of guy. And because I'm a mixed media kind of guy, I tend to come up with some pretty ridiculous combinations at times. And I tend to like to throw out the rule book when it comes, well, this is a marker piece, this is a pencil crayon piece, this is a painted piece. I think that whatever you need to pull out of your toolbox for you to figure out a way to express the thing that you want to express, do so, right? And to play with perspective and to play with proportions and to play with all kinds of things. I mentioned a book yesterday on the stream, and I can't scan these pages to just have them available for people to look at. I really wish I could, but I don't want to infringe on the copyright of Vanguard Publishing or Barron's Story. But Barron's Story was an educator in the United States. And in this book called the 1996-1995 Watch Annual, there's an interview with Barron's Story, and they include his notes that he would hand out to his students at the California Institute of Arts and the Pratt Institute of Arts where he taught. And these are his notes on trying everything outside of the box, on looking things in different ways and different mindsets. And it's less of a example book of when you're doing pastels, and it just shows you the smudge line, and you're like, well, how do you do the smudge line? This is more of a technical manual where he says, rip or subdivide your drawings to learn about cropping. So when you stop and process for a second, take a drawing and rip it up. Like if I think about this page here that we just scribbled, right? And if I tear off the top of it, and if I tear off the sides of it, we've tightened up this image to just be around this face. Now, if I tear this side off and I've got this area for some text here, that's a whole different kind of an image. And so exploring avenues like that just from a sentence. So anyhow, this is, if you're able to find one of these online, I don't know what they cost, but if you're able to find something like this or anything that you can find from Barron's Story's notes, he talks about do a drawing, put a resist on, scrape off, do a whitewash, and then scrape off parts of that whitewash because you get that resist on protecting the drawing underneath, and then do another wash on top of that. And you'll see some of the parts of the first layer of the drawing poking up through the white wash that you put down. And then with this new value placed into it, it's going to sink through that whitewash into the original drawing. Now you've got you've got that tertiary layer, that additional layer that's laid in. It sounds mad to hear people talk about it, and it sounds mad to just see a couple of photos of it. But when you start to explore those from technical notes, it changes the game for you. So, do whatever you need to do. But this here, I can give you, here is the ISBN number. I'll hold that up. Does anybody need me to read it out? If so, let me know. I'll catch up on the stream while we're doing this. Rachel says, hey, so glad, CK, that you're getting a break. It's the last 2 weeks of school. Lots of work to read and evaluate. Oh, you definitely need that break. I don't blame you. I blocked it. There we go. Philip says, I used to love mixing media, especially media that doesn't necessarily go together. It's amazing and surprising the stuff that you can combine together. There's a guy, a painter out of Vancouver originally. I think he lives in the Mediterranean or in the Bahamas or something now. His name was Attila Richard Lukács, and he would do these somewhat homoerotic images of skinheads, which is ridiculous. But he would put these gigantic oil paintings, and he would put tar. He would use black tar for some of these surface modulations and some of these large areas of scraping. So you could try anything. It's amazing. Rachel says, I guess I am an artist. I rip things up regularly. Well, here's another. So it's called the 1996, I'll put it in the camera, Barron's Stories Watch Annual. And it's got interviews with George Pratt, Bill Cobb, Dave McKeon. These are all fantastic artists. Dave McKeon, like here's some of Bill Cobb's stuff, right? And then you've got Neil Gaiman's work is in here, and you've got there's a whole interview with Dave McKeon by Baron Story, no less. Here's some of Baron Story's surface modulation stuff, right? So definitely, probably the most brilliant technical resource book I've ever seen on art, and it's 8 pages of an artsy comic book. So. Yeah, Rachel, have you ever thought about, instead of tearing up and throwing away in case that's what you do, throwing away the stuff that you don't think is successful, see if you can crop it down or rip out the parts that annoy you and incorporate that. So you would take out the parts that annoy you, stick this down to a new piece of paper, and draw in the corrected part, so that you're not just throwing out the baby with the bathwater. Don't throw out babies. Yeah. Okay. So, okay. Philip Scream capped it. Good. I'm a big proponent of don't throw away drawings, and the reason I am that now is because I have thrown away a lot of them. A lot of them. Scotch tape's wonderful. Masking tape is wonderful because you can draw. If you put masking tape in here, okay. And you incorporate that into your, and I do this all the time. So this is one of my weird hangups, right? So when I put these parts in here, now if I go over the same thing, and I'm allowing myself to continue to examine this idea, here's where the ear is, right? Maybe they've got some feathered hair that sits over top, and I'm going to draw in the silhouetting light that's in behind their heads. I don't know why, but for some reason in my head, this just made me think of Kate Bush. I don't know. Don't ask how this works up here. I don't understand it myself. Maybe it's a lot of backlit videos. Who knows? So, but you can sit down with these different pieces of paper that you put in here and look at how, the surface raises up on the shoulder blades through here and through the neck. There's your clavicles right here, but you just explore the same drawing with this other tape, with this other paper involved. So yeah, masking tape's good. It works just as well, and it's clear. You don't even have to see the differences. I like to do this often. I think I've shown some of these pages where, see if I can find one. I put Post-its down. This might be one. Let me check. Trying to see if I can find one to pull up for you. No, that's my Richard Simmons page. Look it up. Yeah, there's Richard Simmons pages, people. Oh, I know. With the grandkids, we did some. Well, let me see if I can find something recent. I'm going to give up on this really fast. But I incorporate tape and the like into my images all the time. And the reason that I'll do that, I'll modulate that surface area when I'm putting together an image, is because, here's one, I got one. Okay. The reason for that is that it doesn't matter. It's whatever we do to get the image down. So in these panels, the yellow squares and in the background of these two characters talking, those are pieces of Post-it. And so that sort of sets the tone for this yellow value to be incorporated in the image, right? And then there is masking tape. My phone reminder just scared the heck out of me. There's a piece of masking tape right here stuck between these two guys in the bottom third panel, but it puts this interesting characteristic on the page and in the drawing, but it's just part of the image. It's not anything standing out of an image. And so you can, once again, you can sort of try anything, but don't throw out your drawings. Try to reuse those try to use those images for something else and see what that gives you, because you spent some time on that, and your time is very, very valuable. So yeah, so that's my headspace. So a lot of blabbing for me today, folks. For those that joined us late, the announcements that I made at the beginning, you know where that drawing went? Right onto the arm of my chair, so that it said, "You ain't going nowhere." Let me pull up the screen here, and just went for those that joined in late. Hey, there's the Richard Simmons page. Richard Simmons and the Cheshire Cat. That was the suggestion for this page. Okay, so the announcements that I have is we're doing shorts now, where I'm actually doing readings of the comic pages, and those will be on my YouTube, and you'll find copies of those on my Patreon as well. Everything goes on my Patreon. Patreon people don't miss anything. And then on my website, which I've got the link for here, people are able to order books across the board now. We think we fixed it last night. Thank you very much to the help of my wife and a lady named Amelia, who lives in India. So I think it took us 2 hours to do all this, but people should be able to order from wherever now. So finally, I have a working website. Also, Rachel, I think you're one of the people that left me a message on my website, and those were all buried. So I finally can see messages that people put on my website. So that's fun too. So there's those links if you want to write them down or not. I also try to include those links in the errata that's below each video as I put it out. So you'll find those links there too that you can probably just click on and stick them. So those are our big announcements. I'm having a lot of fun these days, folks. But I'm trying to have purposeful fun. When you spend time doing sketches and doing roughs and doing workups, if there's ways that you can look at those things that you spend a moment of time on, and figure out how you can still utilize those, a big encouragement towards that. And the reason that I try to put big encouragement towards that is that, like I said before, your time is valuable, and you only have X amount of it. I spent years of trying to do stuff, to work on stuff, when kids are in bed, and after I spent time with family, but I still got to try to get X amount of things done to pursue these objectives. So I spend an awful lot of time of trying to do whatever I can in this brief amount. Work fast, because you only got so much time to do it in. And so that's why I started reutilizing things. Hey, do we have any update on Sal? Frank Salazar. So if anybody here has the time, if you can go and check out Salazar Art Nation, Salazar, and say hi to Frank. Frank had a wipeout this last week, and he fell out of a moving vehicle, which is really rough. And so he is not feeling very good. So if anybody has an opportunity or a moment just to check in with Frank and say, hey, big love, I think that would help him out. He's got scratches all over him and stuff like that. So you think he's got it rough? You should see the other guy. I don't know. I got nothing. I'm just glad he's okay. But he got some bumps. He got some bumps and some bruises. So bumped his head a good one. So. Okay, if anybody's still here, this is the stupidest thing on planet Earth. I just got bounced out of my own thing. So I think if I remember correctly, because I used to do the occasional week stream, and when I did this stream before, I seem to remember that on weekend was not reliable. I don't know if it's just everybody in their armpit is on StreamYard or something like that at this point, but yeah, sorry everybody we lost, and sorry anybody that, if anybody's still here, if you're able to say, hey, I'm still here. So Rachel said, yay. Well, okay. Yeah, is that mean you're here? Sorry guys. Yeah, really ridiculous. Where do we leave off? Oh yeah, Franklin Mapleton needs a stunt double. That's fine. It truly does. Okay. Well, anyway, I admit earlier. Helpful. Okay. Well, I don't know. I can't count on reliable internet today. Everything is just turned on fresh and brand new for the stream today. I think it's got to be on the other end because we're all fresh and clean for this. Is the only thing I have. But I don't know. I hope that some of the stuff we talked about is helpful. I hope that it is encourages some mixed media or whatever else, but don't deny yourself opportunities for your own creative exploration. Mistakes are mistakes. Mistakes are the things that we learn along the way, right? So allow yourself that and break the rules. Incorporate everything and everything. There's these things that I see now on a bunch of websites called junk journals and the like. And a junk journal that's as viable art as some they do work and say, this is the great painting I've done. And I see other people's junk journals and it's equally valuable than this large, profound painting. It's just, in those cases, it's a challenge. But exploration is you have something to say in whatever images that you're carving out and doing. So pursue that and see what that gives you. I'm going to sign off before this makes me so crazy that I'm going to be silly. So thanks everybody for hanging out. I hope anything that we talked about today was informative and helpful. And if you're able to, come and join us on Monday to Friday on our 2:00 daily stream, 2:00 North American EST. So if you're in Europe, that would be 8 p.m. Okay. So, and if you're in Los Angeles, that would be 11 a.m. Right. So, yeah, I think I'll sign off for today. And just want to let you know there's a couple of fun things that were going on. I'll stick them up there one last time. Bingo, bango, bongo. And by all means, please contact me if you have a one-page comic idea or suggestion. And let me know if you're doing some stuff or if you take any of the one-page ideas that I put out and try it yourself. I'd love to see what you do because it's not going to be the same thing as I do. And so there's no exclusive license on being able to do a one-page comic here, right? Some people are like, well, that's your thing. It's not my thing. It's just a thing. Do explore any opportunity you have for telling stories and share them because, out there is somebody who's waiting to see them. And it's just a matter of getting that out there so that eventually that person does. In the meantime, I'm going to get to creating. I hope you do too. Everybody have a great day. And I will be back on Monday at 2 in the afternoon. EST time. All right. Bye for now, gang. My nose is really itchy.